This next speaker represents a business that's reimagining the digital store of the future. Ulta Beauty has transformed their digital platforms, moving away from a monolithic system to empower their business teams and enable agile content management across web, mobile, and 2 native apps. The result, real-time content updates, and a digital experience as dynamic as their brand. So please join me in welcoming to the stage Joe Rago, Senior Director of Digital Product at Ulta Beauty, and Kieran Lane, VP of Global Sales Engineering and Success at Amplience.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. I'm Kieran Lane. I'm head up the pre-sales and customer success team here at Amplience. And I think I recognize a lot of faces. And one of the things I love is telling stories. And the thing I love is when others tell stories, especially our customers. And I'm really, grateful to be on the stage with Joe, one of our customers from Ulta Beauty. So Joe, do you want to maybe introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Ulta?
Sure. Good morning, everybody. Joe Rago. I'm Senior Director for Digital Product at Ulta Beauty. Very happy to be here. Had a great weekend here in London with my wife, and excited to tell you guys a bit about Ulta and what we've done over the past few years with Amplience. If I did get to pick my own walk-up music, though, I probably would have done While My Guitar Gently Weeps, but next time later, maybe for the off.
We'll get that next time. So no, Joe, we spoke about Ulta before and how you've made the transition from a monolithic platform to composable, giving your business users agility. Can you give any examples where this has empowered your teams to innovate and move at the speed of beauty?
Sure. Yeah, so through most of the 2010s, we were, like many retailers, we were on a classic monolithic solution. So one system for everything, one vendor. We customized it to no end, building on top of that platform. But even with many years of using that platform, many years of customizations, the amount of changes that our business team, our actual digital store merchants could do was very limited. We might be able to change an image in a hero banner, but we couldn't say, hey, today we want a hero banner, tomorrow we want a content carousel. It was very rigid and limited. We were really restricted to doing a lot of changes through IT releases, which meant getting into deployment cycles, either bi-weekly or monthly releases. So we definitely couldn't move at the speed of beauty for many years. We then moved to a completely new platform. We called it, at the time, Digital Store of the Future. We thought it would be one of those classic 1 year, we'll migrate, we'll be done with it. It was about a 3.5 year effort, but really at the core of it was the idea of, and you'll probably hear some of these terms throughout the day, and you have heard them already, having a headless architecture. At the center of that was our partnership, both company-wise and technology-wise, with Amplience, and really the idea of component creation and component reusability was kind of at the core of our digital store of the future idea. So over the course of time, we went from that single monolithic solution to working with many vendors, so best-in-class vendors, including Amplience across our technology stack. But really at the core, like I said, was really around component creation and component modularity or reusability. And that really allowed us to accelerate what our digital business teams could do with our digital store. And we even saw it early out of the gate. Even after we launched, for example, like a new homepage or a new product detail page, you could see how quickly they were able to adapt to the power that they had in their hands. Sometimes, with great power comes great responsibility. So we had to put some guardrails in place on, you could change that, but you could also break the homepage or break this page. So being able to find the right guardrails on where the right access was needed, but really being able to move at the speed of beauty has been huge for us.
And now that you kind of have that componentized architecture and you can make real-time updates, as you say, to multiple channels, web, mobile, and 2 mobile apps, can you give any practical examples where you've had measurable impact to customer experience?
Sure.
But also kind of a second part to that is how do you manage and ensure consistency across all of those channels?
Yeah, I'll kind of take both of those in tandem. I think for the examples, there's probably three key moments that I could point to. One of them has been our annual holiday season. So like many retailers, between Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the Christmas shopping season, that's a huge time of year for Ulta Beauty. So this will now be our 3rd year that we've been on the digital store platform and on running Amplience from a content management system perspective. And every year it's gotten better, and every year it's gotten smoother. So whether it be through the load balancing capabilities we're able to leverage with Amplians, or just the ability to schedule and kind of see that storytelling in the future for what we're going to be doing for our different key moments in time throughout the holiday season. It's gotten better and better each year. Also, it's one of those things where we need to be able to, we could have a plan in place, but with any holiday season, plans are going to shift. So how are we able to make sure that our business teams could switch at a moment's notice, whether that be through content creation, content programming, making sure the right product, the right content is in front of the guest at the right time, in the right channel. As it relates to channels, so we do have the ability through how we've set up our digital store on Ampliance, where we're able to leverage common components across web and mobile web, which I think is natural, but you are dealing with different form factors there, and also between web and our native apps. And we have 2 native apps, iOS and Android. And the interesting thing when I was writing up kind of some of the thoughts on this is, I think the big perk is we're able to use components consistently when we want to, which is a large majority of the time. But when we want to be inconsistent, which kind of sounds weird, but we want to have some custom content either on app versus web, or even iOS app versus Android app, we have the power to do that. So it's really great to be able to be consistent where we want to, and to be inconsistent when we don't want to be as well. One of the examples of, I think, related to actual guest-facing customer experiences, we recently did a super sexy project where we changed our authentication provider. I know everyone's like, that is awesome. So behind the scenes, though, for example, one of the elements of that project was we changed our login page, so the page where you put in your ID and password. And on our legacy platform, there might have been, I don't know, let's say 87 different points where that login page was invoked. And we would have had to update 87 different touch points. With how our digital store is built now on top of Ampliance, we updated one component one time, and it took care of that update across all those different touch points. So there was more to the overall project, but that specific use case was one that we just did back in August, so very, very recent update. And I remember when the team was telling me like the plan and the approach and the schedule, and they were like, yeah, we update here and we're done. I'm like, what? Like, tell me where the actual secret is behind that. So that was just a recent example as well.
Amazing. Yeah, you don't want to be updating things 87 times. I love that term inconsistency, or that element of something that's unique. And personalization is key to the world of beauty, and it kind of works at a fast pace. How has the architecture helped you provide personalized experiences to your customers?
Sure. Yeah, so we started our personalization journey at Ulta Beauty before we even moved to our new digital store platform. It started through when I was on the digital innovation team. We started exploring different AI technology, started with recommendations within emails. We eventually acquired a startup called QM Scientific to help really accelerate our artificial intelligence efforts. And that technology led to what we call our own personalization engine, which is called Quasi. Quasi kind of creates we call them recipes, if you will, that determines what personalization elements might appear to a given guest. Where we really were able to supercharge that working with Ampliance over the past few years is we put in place what we call our content personalization tool. And it's really around matching the right creative assets to the right personalization groups. So if you kind of think about it in a little bit of a separate of layers, like we're able to leverage Ampliance to put the right asset with the right campaign in front of the right personalization group. And you could have one group, two groups, as many number of groups as we want to set up. And then on top of that, we're able to leverage our own Quasi AI engine. And where it's nice is that the business is able to control the placement of the personalized components, the personalized creative assets. The rest of the team is still able to continue to enhance and optimize those personalization recipes, or even switch out recipes. And those two worlds could coexist peacefully without causing constraint with one another. It also means that when we set up a new page or a new event landing page, whatever it might be, we're able to introduce personalized elements to those experiences like out of the gate, where it's not like hey, launch the Black Friday marketing page and then add personalization after the fact. If we have components in there that are part of our personalized component library. We're able to do that right out of the gate, which has been huge for us. So I think that's been a great way we've been able to take our own technology, leveraging with Amplience to really put the right component in front of the right guest. So
That's amazing. And also, we talk about speed of change. We know trends and seasons move quickly in retail, and especially in beauty retail. How has the new composable approach kind of helped you launch campaigns faster, and keep up with the ever-evolving kind of customer expectations?
I think it's all about speed in all areas. I think the first element of that is around content creation. So I think where we've seen a bit of our change in how our digital merchandising team works is it's not just about getting the products up and loaded onto the site or app experience or getting those into our product catalog. It's really around creating content that the guest can engage with, content that a lot of times might be stories. Stories might be told beginning out there on social, whether it be Instagram, TikTok, et cetera, but then that drives guests to our digital stores. How does content there engage the guests, whether it be things like holiday looks or holiday gift guides is a good example of kind of holiday specific content. So, being able to create content quickly, through our partnership with Amplience is the first piece. Then it ties back to driving guests to that content within our digital store, and that's really where the component piece comes into place of being able to take those components we have, either create new ones or reuse existing components. And it's really, before, like, we used to think about our digital store as just like a set of different pages, and now it's more of that end-to-end experience, and it's really around like these different slots or these different component, we call them rails, that we could put in different places within the experience. So it might be, hey, if we're launching a new brand and on their product detail page, we want to have different content rails that could drive to more information about that brand, or potentially in our native app drive to virtual try-on of those products. We have that flexibility, so the speed to react and not only create the content but then drive guests to the content is the first two pieces. The third, just more technically, and this is something we didn't do out of the gate with Amplience, but through our ongoing conversations, we last year took advantage of their image optimization tool. And actually, it's more than just image, it's more of an asset optimization tool where we were able to optimize the images and videos that we either had on our site or were putting onto our site, ensure the right image or video, the right asset shows up to the guest on the right platform in the right format. And obviously a lot of that was around speed and performance, and we saw a distinct measurable improvement after we went through that asset optimization effort. So.
Right. So as you say, everything's kind of evolving and changing. And I really love your concept of the digital store. And kind of, if you think kind of 3 to 5 years forward, what role is the digital storefront of the future going to hold? What does, real-time updates, customer-centric data, how is it going to evolve and play a key role in what Ulta is doing for customers?
Well, if I knew the future, I would have bet for Liverpool to lose on Saturday when I went, not to win. So that would have been the first piece there for that piece. But I think when we look at our digital, I've talked about our digital stores up to this point, and I kind of glanced over it at the beginning. We began as a physical retailer. We're the largest specialty beauty retailer in the United States. We have almost 1,500 stores. We just launched our first stores internationally, a couple in Mexico City. We're going to be in the Middle East by end of the year, and we recently announced an acquisition of a brand you mostly know, Space NK, which I did have the privilege of going to a few stores over the weekend as well. So there's like the physical store aspect that I think for us is still a huge part of our digital business, and that kind of sounds like, using the term inconsistent in a way, but we started as a physical store. A lot of our digital growth, especially since the pandemic, has been around the digital experiences that those omni-channel experiences that tie our digital store with our physical store. So things like buy online, pick up in store, same day delivery, curbside pickup. We also launched last year very quickly 2 marketplace partnerships. So I'm not sure if DoorDash and Instacart exist here in the UK, but those are essentially same day delivery marketplaces where now a guest could shop an Ulta Beauty store in those channels and get the order delivered, in as little as an hour. So really those omni-channel experiences and leveraging our our store network, our coast-to-coast fulfillment network in the U.S., and so really driving those omni-channel experiences will be one piece of it. The other piece of it is really leaning into, we talked about our apps. Our native apps, even though they've evolved over time, and one of my roles early on at Ulta was running that team, they're really due for a reimagination. So we're actually just kicked off the last few weeks. We call it Project Flagship, and it's really around our native apps really being that flagship or flagships that's leading the digital guest experience into the future. So we're looking excited to being able to reimagine those experiences, both existing features and capabilities as well as net new capabilities, and a lot around how we're going to build that and how we're going to leverage things consistently or inconsistently is going to be really at the core of what we do from a native app perspective. But our best guests, our most active guests are in our native application. So we're looking forward to really combining both the digital and physical with our stores, but also really leaning into our native apps, both shopping in stores as well as shopping out of stores as well.
It's amazing. It's so good to hear content playing a central role in what you're doing. So thank you very much for the time. I think
You're welcome.
We'll finish there, and again we'll be around later on. So if anybody has any questions and wants to come see Joe or myself, we'd love to see you. Cool.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.